This is a brief presentation on entry codes and their impact on data quality. When you're improving data entry, the goal is to try and identify and ultimately stop data entry errors. So for example, you wouldn't want to have an invalid animal ID being entered or to avoid the misspelling of a milking location. In OCA, or Overlays Capture Architecture, what you can do is you can provide a list of acceptable entries for an attribute. So for example, in milking location, I could say that only these three milking locations are acceptable attribute entries. Now, this is the entry codes are recorded in an entry code table. And what appears as an entry code is what is going to be, one of these three options is what is going to be recorded in your data set. Now, best practices in many domains, they might use complex codes for data entry. They might want to be language independent or for sorting ability, etc. Their entry codes are often alphanumeric language independent codes. So for example, the Go code terms in their labels, you'll have a Go term that's alphanumeric, but then the entry code label in English is a much more complete name. Again, it'll be the entry code that is recorded in the data set. So in my example with the milking systems, I've created entry code labels in multiple languages, and it's the entry code 1, 2, or 3 that is the one that will be recorded in the data set. However, in many cases, many use cases, you will just duplicate the entry code into the entry code label. That's acceptable, especially for the majority of these smaller use cases. Now, what you can do when you have developed entry codes is that, for example, in Excel, you can create a drop-down list in Excel. And if you don't know how to do this, what you can do is on semanticengine.org, when you are creating an OCA bundle in the Develop tab, you can also generate a data entry file if you check the box. And that means that you will have automatically created your drop-down lists for data entry. So this might be a very convenient way using entry codes to make it easy to enter data. After you've entered data, you can also use entry codes in order to validate data sets. So when a data set is validated, you're going to check to make sure that all milking location entries are ones that appear in the entry code table. And if it's something like a misspelling, then this is something that you can flag and correct. And there are advantages of being able to do this when you're limiting data entries to specific lists of choices. It helps you remove errors in your data. It helps your data to be more coherent and more replicatable across different sites, etc. And by recording all valid possible entries in an entry code table, it helps ultimately to improve data quality. You can find out more information about this at agri-food-datacanada.ca, and you can use the tools available at semanticengine.org. Thank you.